All right, man, peace. So the New Orleans Pelicans have most probably been the most impressive team in the NBA playoffs thus far due to their decimation of the Portland Trail Blazers, who are my dark horse in the NBA Western Conference. I had them getting eliminated in the second round to the Golden State Warriors, but I considered them a dark horse because I thought that they were finally a team that were starting to figure out how to approach not that top level, but that second level. And I thought that they would have enough to defeat the New Orleans Pelicans in a long, drawn-out series. But clearly I was wrong because the brain trust of Rajon Rondo and Drew Holiday in tandem with the transcendent abilities of Mr. Anthony Davis were just too much for the Portland Trail Blazers, who play in a very, very basic style. Well, this has caused the question to be broached that what chance do the Pelicans have against the Golden State Warriors? Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
The Pelicans are in chill mode now, resting up and waiting for the Warriors to advance. I cannot wait for this series, which could be without Steph Curry.
I doubt it. I'm sure that Steph Curry will be back by game one. I don't believe that Steve Kerr is arrogant enough to tempt fate with the New Orleans Pelicans. I believe that he knows the goods when he sees them. And the New Orleans Pelicans, they have a very dynamic mix right now. And you certainly want to change their rhythm by defeating them in game one and try to plant some seeds of doubt in their mind. If the New Orleans Pelicans win game one in Golden State, it's going to be a very tough road to hoe for the Golden State Warriors.
When these two squads face each other in the next round, will New Orleans get the best of Golden State?
You know, nothing changes in this world, right? It's Golden State and the Cavs in 3 consecutive seasons, and last year in the playoffs, Stephen A. Smith complained, and others too. Oh, we already know the outcome. I thought it was awesome, clash of the Titans in the finals, and that was not going to change this year. To start the year, we all said it's going to be the Cavs and the Warriors again, obviously, and
I still believe that it's going to be the Cavs and the Warriors until I see different. Until I see someone beat LeBron James 4 times in 7 games, I'm going to pick Cleveland. I think that the Philadelphia 76ers are the best team in the East and the most well-rounded team in the East, but a lot goes into defeating a juggernaut like LeBron James. Not only do you have to get over the mental hurdle, you have to get over the experience disparity between a neophyte team like the 76ers and someone who has probably played the most playoff games of anyone in the NBA over the last 12 or 13 seasons in LeBron James, as well as the referees. And the fact that the NBA wants to close out the LeBron James Cleveland Cavaliers narrative by putting a nice little bow on that storyline by having LeBron lose in the finals, hopefully to the Rockets, and maybe precipitate LeBron going to the Rockets, or maybe precipitate him going back to Miami, or maybe him going to LA. That's going to be the storyline if LeBron loses in the finals. It's almost like a soap opera.
that's all there is to it. And then one day you wake up and everything's changed. The Warriors are not getting out of the West. The Rockets will beat them. But in fact,
we'll see.
In fact, the Rockets won't get the chance to beat them because the Pelicans will first if the Warriors don't have Steph Curry.
Max Hot Take Kellerman at it again.
It will be a hard-fought series, but with...
Why would he make a prediction predicated on the Golden State Warriors not having Steph Curry when we all know that at the very worst, Steph Curry is going to be back no later than Game 3. I believe he'll be back by Game 1. He's already been practicing with the team in non-contact drills. He'll be back by Game 1.
But without Steph, I'm telling you right now, the Pelicans are going to win. Now,
what kind of prediction is that? Without Steph Curry, the Pelicans are going to win.
Drew Holiday has arrived, and he's an excellent, really a star, just the kind of guy you want on the championship team. Two-way combo guard. But really, he's more of a point guard size, like a big point guard or a good-sized point guard size. And that's not a great matchup with Klay Thompson, physically in terms of the size. And others have said this. I'm not the first to say this. So it's not going to look like they did in this last series against Damian Lillard and them. Nevertheless, the best player on either team is on the Pelicans.
Well, we're going to find out this series. I think that Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis are going to cancel each other out. So basically it's going to come down to which team's coach schemes better and which team's supplementary players are able to provide the biggest boost. I think that KD and Anthony Davis are going to cancel each other out. If you have a fully healthy Steph Curry, it's going to be very interesting seeing him go up against Rajon Rondo. Rondo has not fared well against Steph in their previous matchups. Steph Curry is a very difficult player to defend because he's constantly moving without the basketball. That's what makes Golden State's offense so dynamic. It's not what their players do when they have the basketball. It's what they do when they don't have the basketball. It's totally different from defending the Portland Trail Blazers. Totally different. And I believe that Steph will be back by Game 1, no later than Game 3. There's no way that he's going to miss this second round.
That is Anthony Davis. He's better than Kevin Durant. Like, that's not even exactly the matchup. They don't exactly play the same position.
No, they don't, but I believe that Kevin Durant will see his share of defensive time against Anthony Davis,
etc. But and they're both elite talents. But if I had to put my money on one or the other, I think Anthony Davis is a little bit better than Kevin Durant. And when healthy, I thought that now for a little bit, but even before this season. But right now, the way Anthony Davis is playing, and the way the Pelicans are playing, as I said, Stephen A., they have taken turns. The role players, so to speak, the non-Anthony Davis players on the national stage, coming forward and saying, this is what I can do. That includes Rondo, in case you forgot, y'all must have forgot, as you said.
Let me say this again. I love Rondo. Great cerebral ball player. But Max Kellerman, being a boxing commentator, he should understand this concept better than anyone. When you have a very good fighter in the ring against an above-average fighter, that's what's called a showcase fight. That fight is meant to make him look good. When you take that same very good fighter and you put him in the ring against the champion, it's a totally different ball game because the champion has all the skills and he also has the wrinkles. And I think that Max Kellerman is truly just hoping that New Orleans beats Golden State so that he does not have to face the reality of what he's been promising throughout the season, that the Rockets are going to beat the Golden State Warriors. He does not want to have to see that series come to fruition because I think that he's starting to doubt the Rockets against the Warriors.
Quoting Roy Jones, y'all must have forgot. I did. For several years, I thought Rondo was an empty calorie stat stuffer guy.
No, what Rondo was a player out of time. And what I mean by that was he literally watched the NBA transition over from a point guard oriented big man physical league in the mid to late 2000s over into a jump shooting league. And Rondo did not fit into that paradigm. He didn't fit into the Rick Carlisle offensive system of equal opportunity shooting and equal distribution. Rondo wants to commandeer the entire offense because he believes that he knows what's best for every player on the offense. So he has to play for a coach that truly trusts him and values what he brings to the table. He can't play for a coach like Rick Carlisle or Steve Kerr or a Greg Popovich, because they're going to want him to move the ball equally. He likes to have the ball, and he keeps the ball moving, but he wants to position his teammates on the floor like a chess master does. And that's why he tends to go back and forth and eventually have contentious relationships with coaches that don't understand him. Because some people are a little too smart, quote unquote, for their own good. You can only be too smart for your own good if you're in the wrong situation. But he seems like he's finally found a home in New Orleans, so good for him.
Who just simply didn't shoot well enough for the modern game and was bad for team chemistry. He is clearly showing me wrong last year in the playoffs while he was healthy, and then again this year in the playoffs. Taking Drew Holiday off ball has opened up his offense. He can be much more decisive now, in fact, in terms of attacking the rim. And Mirotic, we saw him do what he can do.
He does a great job of stretching the floor, Mirotic does. And, of course, he still brings size.
In fact, I said the team is better with Boogie Cousins. But with Anthony Davis playing the 5 and a guy who can shoot playing the 4, I don't know. I mean, this
They're better without Boogie Cousins, I know.
Pelicans team is ready, not to go all the way, but to beat a Stephless Warriors team, yes, they are, and I believe it's going to happen.
What would impress me is if Cousins re-signed with that team and decided that he was going to be the sixth man. Someone who could back up Mirotic and Davis, still get 30 to 35 minutes a game, but not mess with the flow of the team. I think that would be what would be best for his career. But I don't think that he'll do that.
I'm not willing to go that far. I give them credit. It'll be an incredible series. I think it'll be a thriller. I definitely think that the Pelicans could beat them. But if I had to bet my money, I'm going to go with the reigning defending NBA champions with 3 All-Stars in their starting lineup.
Yes, with Steph Curry back, I believe that they'll beat the Pelicans in 5 or 6 games. They won't even go 7.
I'm going to look at Kevin. I'm going to look at Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, and I'm going to know that he's going up against Kevin Durant. I'm going to look at Drew Holiday.
Absolutely. In other words, Stephen A. Smith is saying they're going to cancel each other out.
Holiday, and I'm going to know that he's going up against Klay Thompson. By the way, a two-way player in this game. Somebody that's a two-way player, just like Drew Holiday is. And so when I look at it from that perspective,
and not just a two-way player, but a player who knows how to play off the ball, unlike C.J. McCollum, who's a ball-oriented player who likes to dribble. See, Portland is easy to game plan for. And once again, if I knew that the Pelicans were going to be playing at that elite level defensively, there's no way that I would have thought that the series was going to be elongated.
And I look at the supplementary parts that they have around them. I'm looking at a guy like Rondo, obviously an experienced individual, a champion, a leader, knows how to play. He elevates his play rather come playoff basketball.
And Rondo is at an elite level of physical and mental conditioning.
These are all things that can't be ignored, and I totally get that. But I'm just of the mindset that when I look at the Golden State Warriors right now, and regardless of how things may look from time to time, they're snipers. They're long-range snipers.
Not only are they snipers, Stephen A. Smith, but they're going to give the Pelicans hell because it's so difficult to defend them due to the fact that they move so well without the basketball, and they have two elite passers in their starting lineup, that being Draymond Green and Steph Curry. Then you have Andre Iguodala coming off the bench, who's another elite passer.
Even though that was supposed to be Lillard, Klay Thompson's got about a 3 to 4 inch height advantage on Damian Lillard. Drew Holiday defending against Klay Thompson is a little bit different than defending against Damian Lillard. And I can assure you, I don't give a damn who, whether it's Anthony Davis, whether it's Etuan Moore, whether it's Mirotic or anybody else. I don't give a damn who they were defending on Portland. They ain't Kevin Durant. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm just thinking about an experienced championship squad whose game is predicated on perimeter.
Kevin Durant is such an elite scorer. Even though I think that sometimes he gets a little bit too one-on-one oriented, he is such an elite scorer.
And they're bigger and taller than Portland's guards were, which means it would pose a different problem in New Orleans.
But you know what Rondo has done for that team in certain respects? Obviously their games are different. But the way CP3, because now he's on the Rockets, and Harden's handling the ball a lot, CP3 you think of as the great floor general setting everyone else up. But he's also a great scorer. And Harden on ball has unlocked that with CP3. He can cut and do all kinds of things. Now, the backcourt here doesn't shoot like those guys. But what they do have that's similar to the Rockets are two guys who can both put the ball on the floor. And by the way, Rondo shoots better from the outside now. Takes a couple of threes a game, and he's hitting them at a better clip than he ever hit.
Yes, he's greatly improved his outside shooting, Rajon has.
Ever hit them in the past. You can't just walk away from him from the outside. But the point is they have two guys who can both put the ball on the floor and make decisions at an elite level. And right now, the Warriors have no guys like that, really. I mean, Klay Thompson is better than Drew Holiday, right? He's taller, and that's not a great matchup for Holiday.
Well, he brings a different component than Drew Holiday does. Right now, if Drew Holiday brings the level of intensity that he brought into the Portland series, he's going to give Klay Thompson all he can handle. Because when CJ has the basketball, you know what he's going to do. You don't know what Drew Holiday's going to do with the basketball because he can pass and score.
But you want Klay Thompson putting the ball on the floor. Like, you can, if the idea is let's force Klay to put the ball on the floor and make decisions. He's capable of doing that, but that's not why he's out there. That makes him a much lesser player. But if you do that, on the other hand, to the Pelicans, make Drew Holiday put the ball on the floor. Yeah, he can do that. He makes a living doing that. You know, he and Rondo give them a tactical or a strategic advantage against most teams, and that includes especially a Steph-less Warriors team.
Stephen A., I lost you for a second earlier. Real quick, I know you picked the Warriors. Are you saying Warriors in 7, you think it goes?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think it would probably go 7 games.
Steph Curry, I'm sure, is going to be back by game 1. If Steph is back by game 1, the Warriors will win this series in 5 games, no more than 6 games. If Steph misses the first 2 games, the series will go 7, and New Orleans will have an opportunity to win the series.
But I definitely think that the Warriors could still beat the New Orleans Pelicans without Steph Curry, simply because of Kevin.
Without Steph, the series will go at least 6 games, and it may be New Orleans in 6 without Steph. If Curry's unable to return in the second round, if the Warriors were to beat New Orleans, it would certainly be in 7 games. I don't see them being able to beat New Orleans in less than 7 games without Steph Curry. The disparity would be too slim. And I quite frankly don't think that they would be able to generate enough offense to stand up to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. I understand what Drew Holiday did to Damian Lillard. And I understand that C.J. McCollum, even though he showed up for a couple of games, he was inconsistent in a couple of others. And they had absolutely, positively no answer whatsoever for Anthony Davis. Jurich and those boys didn't show up either for Portland, so it is what it is. But in the end, what it comes down to for me is that Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday would be going up against a different beast than Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. 2 individuals that are taller, and 2 individuals that have just as, if not even more lethal long-range capability than Damian Lillard. I look at it from that perspective, and I say it would be a different problem for them than Portland posed them.
They would also be more proficient from the field than Portland. That would be very interesting, though, if Steph were to miss the entire second round, just to see how Golden State would do against the Pelicans. That would be a 7-game series, no doubt in my mind. And I would probably pick New Orleans in 6 games if there was no Steph Curry. Either New Orleans in 6 or Golden State in 7.
And I think that's the reason I would still pick the Warriors to win this game, to win that series.
Look, they can all shoot. They can all shoot. Warriors' top 2 guys can shoot better than the Pelicans' top 2 guys, and they can all defend. The Pelicans' top 2 guys can defend better than the Warriors' top 2 guys, and the Pelicans
that's debatable, Max Kellerman.
Right now are ascending. I agree, a 7-game series. It's going to be hard fought. And if Steph gets back at the end of that series, maybe I flip. But no Steph, the Warriors are done in the second round.
All right, you might disagree on the winner, but we all agree this is about to be a series, folks. Cannot wait.
But anyway, that's it on the early prognostication for that series. I'm sure that we're going to have a more defined understanding in regards to what the odds will be for each team when they match up. As we all know, the Warriors were able to close out the San Antonio Spurs last night. So we'll see. There's certainly going to be a little bit more concrete evidence to allow us to make better assertions in regards to who's going to win that series. But right now it's dicey. With no Steph Curry, New Orleans certainly has a chance. But anyway, peace.